Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. This is going to be long. Background. My 18 male's parents divorced when I was 14. It happened because my father, in his 40s, had an affair. Me and my mom were devastated, but we tried to move on. But he couldn't. He kept coming home and watching TV like nothing happened. He wanted to continue having a normal life with us while he was getting married to another woman. He kept on calling my mother just to talk to her, and when she didn't answer, he would start to yell and send messages to us in many ways. My mom refused to talk to him about anything that wasn't related to me, and that got him mad. After 2 years of terror, my mom remarried someone and my dad just flipped. There was an incident where police were involved. I started to distance myself from him as he was expecting a child. I moved on because he simply didn't care about my school, grades, or me. He cared only about my mother and would call me to ask how my mother was or where she was. After the divorce, I received alimony until I was 18. It wasn't a large sum of money, but it did help us. He kept on complaining since the first month of paying that he doesn't have money and he doesn't want to keep on paying and how he can't wait to escape from this. He was always skeptical about giving me more money because he always said he had other expenses, such as going fishing, hunting, or on expensive vacations. My issue now, it's been 8 months since I'm 18 and he didn't give me a penny. He promised to pay for my driver's license, which mom paid. He said it was a duty. To give me his old car as he was buying a new one. He sold it and said that it wasn't good enough for me. To take me fishing. We didn't go because he was too tired, etc., etc. I don't expect anything from him, but I hate that he keeps promising and then he forgets or just doesn't care. In autumn, I'm going to college and I could really use all the money. He was supposed to continue giving me alimony, but told the lawyer that he will give me money and it didn't need to go to court. 8 months ago, I got tired of this and sued him to give me money for the last 8 months and the next year. It's my right, and I'm going to be a student and broke and in debt. He called me today when he got the citation. He was fuming, called me names and told me I was immature, stupid, and brainwashed by my mother. Told me that if I don't withdraw from a trial, I should forget that I have a father and that he's done with us and will do everything to put my mom in jail. Am I such a diabolical person for doing this? I'm just expressing my rights. Now I feel bad that I'm doing this to him and don't know what to do. Any advice? Sorry for rambling. I'm just so pissed right now. OP. He's only mad because it's easier being a deadbeat and not thinking about you, and you suing him is a reminder he can't ignore. Definitely go through with it. You're in the right and it's his legal and moral duty to support you as your parent. Just because he's throwing a tantrum doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Bad parents are good at guilt trips. I hope you do well in college. Now for some comments. Look, I know that it seems hard, and you might feel bad for doing it to him, but don't let that stop you. You are entitled to that money by law. If he decides to not pay, he deserves what's coming to him. Always keep reminding yourself why you are in this situation, but don't dwell on it. That he cheated on your mom, divorced her, married a new woman, and wanted to act like nothing happened. That right there screams emotional abuse. If I were you, I would sue him and try to get his alimony payments raised. He decided to not follow the law, so the law is going to bite him in the ass. My dad was a shit about paying child support. Now that we are in our 30s, he magically remembers himself as a great dad to his kids. F it. No reason why you should struggle through college so he can buy another fishing pole. You are not doing it to him, he's doing it to himself. Moreover, he clearly doesn't feel bad about stiffing you. He doesn't deserve special consideration from you. Story 2. I, 27 female, recently bought a house. It's a duplex, and I plan on renting out one side. I bought this alone, but I do have a boyfriend. It will be relevant later on. And see this as an investment. I plan on buying more properties in the future. Now, when every one of my cousins bought their first house, everybody on my dad's side, grandparents, uncles, aunts, etc., gave a monetary gift to help pay for the expenses associated with buying and furnishing a house. It's usually in the 7,000 to 10,000 range, depending on if the other side of the family pitches in. When my paternal grandparents died, it was agreed between my dad and his siblings that they would give more money to compensate for the grandparents' part, so the younger cousins would not be penalized. So, when my purchase became official and everything was signed, my dad called his siblings to coordinate everything, as they all did for their own kids. I am the youngest cousin and the last one still living at home. At first, my aunts were excited. They assumed I was making it official with my boyfriend and that I was finally settling in and getting ready to start a family. My dad explained to them that I was buying it alone and that my boyfriend would not move in with me. We practiced the philosophy of together but apart. It worked beautifully for the past 10 years, and we don't see any reason to change that. And that I was certainly not getting ready to start a family. We did not hear about them for a while, so my dad called them again this weekend to see what was happening. They told them that they were not comfortable giving me the money because I wasn't following the normal path. They said that the initial purpose of the gift was to give a head start to the young adults in the family looking to settle in. My dad argued with them a bit, pointing out that every time one of my cousins received the gift, even though they weren't following a normal path, like the cousin who asked and received her gift when she went to Toronto because everybody knew she wasn't the kind to buy a house or condo, or the cousin who received his gift even though he was moving in with his girlfriend in her paid-by-rich dad Front Lake mansion and used the money to buy himself a sports bike. Never mind he received more money than when they got a kid, and a couple of years later when they got married. My aunts kept their position, saying I was not buying a house, even though I will live there, but merely making an investment, and that I'll probably make enough money that I won't need the gift anyway. There was also something about not moving in with my boyfriend, but my dad refused to tell me what they said, saying they were way out of line with their commentaries. However, one of my uncles thinks I should get the gift like everybody else, but he won't go against his sister's wishes. The thing is, I could really use the money. The house is in good shape, but I still need to make some minor repairs and upgrades. Plus, I still need furniture and stuff. I hadn't planned on the extra money when I budgeted the repairs, so I'm not screwed over. I am right on track money-wise, but I would still be welcome as I could clear off my remaining student debts. My parents are livid. My dad is fuming over all the money they happily gave to each and every one of my cousins, thinking his own kid would get the same help. Dad wants to cut all ties with his family. Mom is trying to reason with him on the consequence of doing so, and I'm here standing like an idiot, not knowing what to think. I was never especially close to anyone, being the youngest, but I don't hate them either. I would also really like to tell them to F off, but at the same time, I don't want to burn any bridges. It's important to note that this gift would not put any of the givers under some kind of financial strain. Everybody is well off. My mom does their taxes. We would know if someone wasn't in great financial shape. So, what should I do? Tell them to F off and do without? Knowing my family, this would probably mean the end of any relationship with them. My parents offered to give me the same amount I would have received, but I don't want to burden them, especially since they have let me live at home all the time so I could get my down payment. Or should I try to contact my aunts to discuss it with them? I'm not sure I would be comfortable doing this. I would feel like I'm gold digging or something. But then again, maybe they would understand this is really my first home, not just a money-making investment. There was some drama in the family before I was born with my dad and his mother. I don't really know the story, but I guess there is some resentment against him thrown in the mix too. So maybe talking with them would make them understand they are penalizing me to get at him. OP, Step back and let your dad deal with this. I don't think this situation has literally nothing to do with your path or your choices, your situation with your boyfriend or any of it. This is about your aunts and uncles' kids getting help when they asked for it, and your dad being denied when he's asked for it after years of forking out thousands of dollars to his family. So just go along with whatever your dad does. Now for some comments. It's their choice whether to give you money or not, even if their standards are unfair. Honestly, I think your father is the one who has been screwed here. He gave their kids money thinking the favor would be returned, and the other family members took his money happily and then didn't reciprocate. I think he's justified in cutting contact with them. Whether you want to cut contact is another issue. They sound kinda shitty people if they were willing to do what they did to your dad. I certainly wouldn't trust them. Your aunts are worthless pieces of crap. I bet that your lifestyle isn't really the issue here. They are just looking for an excuse to weasel out of reciprocating your dad's generosity. Your dad sounds like he has recognized this and is doing the right thing by cutting them off. In the long run, the friendship of people like that will only be a burden to you. I would let it go, but I would also make absolutely no effort into keeping relationships with any of them either. Also, if I were your dad, I would be asking to be reimbursed, as it sounds like it was an agreement that they are not committing to. I'm sorry your extended family is greedy assholes. Story 3. Over the weekend, I had a work trip to go on, so my sister offered to babysit my 2-year-old. She's babysat him a few times, so knows what to expect. Well, this time, she left her $3,000 gaming laptop on the floor of a lounge room. She gave my son an open cup of apple juice without supervision, and he decided to use the laptop as a table on the floor. Things happened, and somehow it got knocked over. Her laptop no longer switches on. She's blaming me and expects me to buy her a new one. I told her no, as it shouldn't have been in his reach and certainly not on the floor. She is refusing to speak to me at the moment and said she will never babysit for me ever again. I really don't feel as though it's my responsibility. Am I the a-hole? Edit. A few people have asked for more information. Yes, I packed both a straw cup and a sippy cup in my son's bag. I supplied everything he would need for the weekend, including nappies and food. My parents were originally going to have him, but my sister specifically asked if she could so she would be able to spend time with him. It wasn't just babysitting, but more enjoying time with a nephew. I gave her some money if she wanted to get takeout or for extra supplies, and she was happy with that as payment for watching my son. Every other time she had had him, the laptop has always been far out of reach. OP, I would advise you to go half and half with the payment. She was negligent on her placement of it, but it's still your child and your responsibility, even if it was an accident. Besides, I think it's worth it to keep a relationship with your sister. Now for some comments. Who leaves an expensive laptop on the floor even if they aren't babysitting a kid? I have seen posts on here where it's like the kid goes into the babysitter's room and grabs something and breaks it, but leaving a laptop on the floor in a room with an unsupervised toddler with an open cup of juice, you're kind of asking for that to happen. Like if you drive to Harlem in a Porsche and leave it unlocked with the keys in the ignition, it's gonna get stolen. I call shenanigans on the sister. She has babysat for him before. She left her $3,000 gaming laptop on the floor. She gives a toddler an open cup of juice when she knows he uses age-appropriate cups that OP provides. And she left him alone. At best, she was negligent. At worst, she sabotaged her own stuff and blamed it on a small child for profit. Technically, not the a-hole, but if you hold your ground, don't ever expect her to babysit again. It was her responsibility to supervise your kid. You are not automatically responsible for everything your toddler does. We're not under your control. She gave a toddler an open cup of apple juice, and she's the one who left the laptop on the floor. But be sure you want to die on this hill. I would cover half of the repair cost to keep the peace, especially if she was watching your kid for free.